Hey guys, it's Jason. I'm back again. We're gonna pick up where we left off on our construction of our Riptide, and today we're gonna focus on building his gun arm like we talked about before. We're gonna make it so that we can switch the weapon on and off, but rather than just using magnets or the traditional way that the gun attaches to the arm, we're going to make it look more like the gun is part of his arm, and then we can switch that off for both of the weapons. What I did is I came into MRS here and I bought a couple of little sets of bits. I like to use these. These are these MSG, and it's mostly to fit with their frame arms and so forth. But what I found is some of the guns these kits use and like the armor plates are really kind of cool, and then they also have a lot of different methods for attaching stuff. And we've got this pack, which is the joints pack is what it's called. So there's all kinds of different joints that we can use to pop on. We've got some ball and socket, and we'll kind of see what's going to work for our application. I don't know if the ball and socket will be the way we need to go, or if we can just use some of these other ones that just kind of plug into each other. So we'll be looking at that. And the other set that I got is these armor plating set, and it's got some really cool like vented armor plates, and we're gonna probably use some of those to fill in the section here that where the arm typically fits. You can kind of see it here. Normally this arm would go together just like the other arm that we did before, and then you would pick the weapon you want to outfit your Riptide with, and then you would just kind of glue it in there. For modeling that's fine, but what we want is something that's a little more customizable for the game. So if you want to use the other weapon, you can, and we can, how can we make that easy to switch on and off? So out of the gate too, I just want to apologize. I'm not really sure what video we're on. It's either 6 or 7. We're gonna call it 7. So this will be vid 7, and we're gonna be building the heavy weapon arm on our Riptide. To recap what we've already got done, we've got both legs completed, and I believe that's started with the second video. We did the legs, and then we've got just get it out here. We've got the body and the instructions, the base, and the rest of the sprue. So we've got the upper body and the lower body glued together, engines, legs. We did the custom arm for the shield arm with the hand. We've got the shield we'll attach, and the fins and the armor pieces with that. But before we get to that, like I said, today we're just gonna we're gonna work on this. We're gonna work on this gun arm. That'll be kind of a cool deal. So I've got the body of the heavy burst cannon already clipped out, and I'm going to go ahead and clip out the bits for the heavy fusion blaster, I believe is what it's called. If that's not it, forgive me. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but I honestly in my games don't use the heavy fusion blaster very much. Something really cool about something that looks like a Gatling gun with a bunch of barrels that you can charge up to do 18 shots a turn. That's kind of my jam. It's a very good anti-infantry weapon. So we were talking about at one point also maybe just using the body of this, and from there maybe making the barrels be like magnetized, so that maybe we just have this front section that hooks on here. But I've done some thinking about it as I was thinking about how can I make it cool yet not super difficult. Difficult is it just takes a lot of time, and I always try to think, well, is there an easier way to do that that's not going to just take a ton of time and a ton of cutting, filing, etc. And I think I do have a way to do that, and we'll talk about that. So these are the two different heavy weapons. You have to put the barrels together on this. And we've got the arm and then the upper arm. So what I was thinking of doing, one, because I don't love this scope thing, I think it may have to go, and then this piece back here, which is kind of so round, maybe it's a magazine, I don't know, it doesn't really say, but what I'm thinking is removing this and then putting this together normally, filling it with green stuff, and then actually cutting a section of it off. I'll probably cut the section I want off first, because I want to use these joints that I purchased to be the way that I connect the weapon to the arm. So that being said, we'd cut a portion of it off, and then we'll figure out how we can hook this together with just these joints that I bought in this other kit. So that's the plan for now. So here comes the scary part, where you take your brand new model and you just decide that we're gonna cut a piece of it off. I haven't glued it because I do want to stuff it full of green stuff, but I have an idea of how far back I want to go on it, so I'm just going to take, this is a brand new X-Acto blade, just going to take that blade and just kind of rock it to make my line. This part of the plastic is pretty heavy duty right here, which is unfortunate. Let's see, beefier blade might get through there. And if all else fails, we'll just grab our hobby clippers. And we'll sand this and get it all nice and flat before we put in our green stuff in our joint piece. But some of it just breaks off. That's okay. Like I said, we're going to sand it down within an inch of its life. So what we have now is this, and they are not even by any kind of a stretch. So now that they're together, I'm going to just kind of try to fix them up a little bit. Alright, now that's done, we're just going to glue these two parts together. Sometimes these glues get clogged up, but it looks like we're okay now. So. Since we clipped off the front part of that hand, that actually had a piece on there that kind of told you if you were aligned properly. So we're going to have to kind of make sure via eyeball that the back portions here are lined up. And then we'll have this big open section here. Alright, so that's done. While we got the glue out, we'll go ahead and glue this kind of shoulder piece on. Now, both of these heavy weapons have this little trough for where the arm would slide down into it if you're permanently attaching or magnetizing or whatever. So I wanted to kind of look through my my armor bits that I bought and just kind of see if there's anything that kind of screams at me as being able to maybe cover that trough. And remember too that we're probably going to remove that scope thing. I'm going to pull this big armor plate off here. It's basically just like a rounded, on the back side it's got some holes for where you can attach it to the equipment that it came with. And a lot of times it's just kind of like, well, see what looks cool. I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this scope off now because I know I don't want it on there. I mean, it's fused with his arm. Does he really need a scope? So that actually looks pretty cool, and I think with the little green stuff inside of that trough there, and maybe in here, I'll be able to fit this piece on there and actually have it look kind of natural. There's a little bump that comes out on the weapon there, but there's a divot on the armor piece, which kind of makes a really natural looking transition. And once I fill this up with the green stuff, it'll become kind of a solid chunk piece. And then what I'm thinking is removing this round bit and maybe kicking that up and then having it be in the green stuff, kind of poking up at an angle here, and so it'll look kind of like this. It's kind of hard to see because I'm holding all the parts together. But it'll look like that, and then this bit will be kind of angled up in this direction, and this will be, I'm just kind of riding this little peg into that square hole, but I'll, you know, glue it all in. But when you stuff it full of green stuff and have that thing coming out at an angle, it might look really pretty cool, especially if we got the arm bit on there like that. So that's the plan. So we're going to cut this bit off, and we're going to try not to mangle it too badly. I'm going to try to use the X-Acto knife here and see if I can't get a better cut. So we can use the knife to try to clean up this surface here. We still are going to have to kind of figure out how we're going to get the peg in here. I think we're going to be okay. Make sure to hold on to that piece because we do want to use it again. Just going to glue this together because I kind of want to see how it's going to look. I don't want to go too far if it's going to be weird looking. So these two pieces are going to kind of connect with these joints here and here. We'll have to kind of bore that out a bit, and but I think that's kind of a cool look. It's got, you know, some of that little panel line detailing there. Almost looks like you would flip this up to change a magazine out, and I think that's kind of what I'm going to go for, is since it's part of the arm, it'll kind of fit down like the top of the battery on your gun, you know, in your receiver. You put your magazine in. Maybe this flips up. I'm just building the story in my mind of, like, you know, how this would work, and you know. So that's kind of where we're at. So I kind of dig that. All right. So we've got arm piece, we got this piece, we got our magazine piece, we got our hand piece. And I'm just going to kind of cut into these bags and see what kind of joints we've got and which one's going to work best.